Hi, this is Matt Wojcik and Mark Green here with the Greener Corporation. Today we're here to talk to you about fine-tuning your packaging lines. And by fine-tuning, we're specifically talking about making your packaging lines run better, faster, and be more productive. It's not just about getting good seals, it's about producing less scrap, more output, and being more efficient without sacrificing seal quality.
Yes, you may be experiencing different results on the same line from different machines. Or maybe you've noticed that the machine settings are different from machine to machine, even though you're producing the same product with the same film structure. Or you might have two different lines with different manufacturers' equipment, and you have differences between the two lines in your productivity. So what we want to talk to you about today are some of the things that you can look for and that you can do to help even those inconsistencies out so that you are producing more consistent and reliable results.
Right. Yeah. One of the things that we find is that if something can be adjusted, it will be, whether it needs to or not. Oftentimes these misadjustments, they don't stop things from running, but they stop things from running well.
Yeah, and we're going to speak to both sides, the mechanical sides and the human component as well. So we like to engineer things out where we can, and we've done that in numerous cases where we have customers that have two lines, two different manufacturers, and we're able to standardize the tooling between the two so that you have the same jaw profiles, the same jaw width between the different manufacturers. So you get a package that looks the same and has the same seal quality.
Exactly. So what are some of the other things that you notice from a mechanical standpoint that create inconsistencies?
Yeah, so when I get called into the plant, it's usually because there's a problem. And when I arrive, I don't really know what works well or what doesn't work well. And it's almost advantageous because I have to find and figure out what machines are producing product well, which ones aren't, why that is, and make those recordings. And then from there, we can centerline everything to keep things more consistent. So some of the things that I look for are the temperature differences from one machine to the next. Are they operator induced? Is someone making adjustments? Final roller position. I look at the forming tooling. Are the forming boxes the same from machine to machine? Or are they adjusting those to what they set them at yesterday? Is someone changing that adjustment from one shift to the next? What we would love to see is using gauge blocks so that these are repeatable. You can repeat the performance shift to shift, in that changeover.
So you mentioned temperature as one of the things you looked at. So from a sealing perspective, temperature becomes a big deal if it's inconsistent. And one of the products that Greener offers to try and help with this problem is Duratherm. So it's the material that the sealing jaw is made from. And Duratherm is considerably more of a temperature transfer than standard steel jaws. And what this does is even out your temperature profile from end to end on the jaw. Oftentimes with a steel jaw, you'll find that you get hot spots in the center. This doesn't happen with the Duratherm. The temperature's even from end to end. And it also allows you to reduce your set temperatures because it is so thermally conductive. Now, what this does for you is if you have a line that ramps up and down in speed due to inconsistent product flow, the lower set temperatures will reduce the problem you have when the temperature is running at the lower speeds and the package become overheated.
Absolutely, Matt. And you touched on something. The line speeds change, right? And Why do they change? Well, sometimes it's because the speeds of the product coming out of the kitchen changes. One of the things that I think is really helpful that I've seen successful companies do is use visual aids, identifying this is a good product, these are problem issues that maybe they see on a regular basis, but not everyone immediately recognizes. And the successful companies put these visual aids out by the wrappers so that when the operators see some of these inconsistencies, they can at least understand the problems that they occur, and maybe they're not adjusting things like the temperature. Or,
exactly.
Yeah, or they may need to adjust the temperature if the line speed slows down. So those visual cues are really helpful.
Right. So one of the other things that we notice that is adjusted consistently, whether it needs to or not, is pressure on the ceiling head. It's one of the main factors in creating a good seal, and we have products that are available that help deal with compensating for this pressure. Mainly our Easy Seal flexible line of products, sealing jaws. They have a little bit of flexibility in the sealing face itself, and what this does is allow for compensation of the additional layers of film at the fin, and also a little bit of misadjustment there. So it opens up your margin for error.
It definitely does. I often say in the training, in regards to temperature and pressure settings, people think that if a little bit of something is good, then
For sure.
a little more is better. And of course, that's not the case. You can certainly exceed those operating windows. And one of the things that Flex Seal, having a soft sealing face, does for you is it helps minimize those problems because you are opening up your operating window.
Absolutely. So those are a couple ideas from a mechanical perspective that we can look at. But the other part of the equation, as Mark mentioned earlier, is the human aspect. So you want to explain some of the things we do to tackle that?
Sure. The human component is really one of the things, I think the biggest struggles, right? Because you have companies that are running multiple shifts, turnover can be high in those areas. So training becomes important.
Right.
What we often see is that people are making adjustments without really understanding the adjustments that they're making and why they're making them.
Or the effect of those adjustments.
Yeah, absolutely, the effect, because many times we're seeing, as we've said, they're inducing a problem, trying to correct another problem. So getting everyone trained to understand what those adjustments are, what the keys are to look for before making any adjustments, and sometimes what not to adjust is just as important as what to adjust and when to adjust it.
Sure. So going in and doing anything from hands-on training for maintenance mechanics to theoretical training for line operators, all of that goes towards money in the bank for the education process for employees to kind of be all on the same page. And one of the additional things we have as a resource is our P3 Solutions blog. And what this is a collection of technical videos and papers that explain that are basically training related materials for you and your people.
Yeah. We get to dive a bit deeper into specific topics. So there's a wealth of information on there. I think there's over 20 blog posts that people can go on, look at. We have topics from temperature, pressure. There's a lot of information that you can look at, download, and pass on.
Sure. Yeah. The address for that is p3solutionsblog.com. And we encourage everyone who's viewing this video to go on there, take a look at what's available. There's a lot of specific information, but we also encourage you guys to take it and bring it down, make it available, or at least let your maintenance mechanics and line operators know that those resources are available, because they're the ones who actually put it to use.
Yeah, so we want to thank you for your time today. We know there's been a lot of technical issues, so we hope that this helped give you some ideas or things to look at and work on, and we welcome any questions or further dialogue that you may want to have if you want to dive deeper into this subject matter.
Absolutely. We're available through the show and directly if need be.